What's up with it, Vanilla Face? Me and my homie Nord here just parked the script poking out of the inventory podcast outside. We're looking for an episode 116 to post up our black asses for the hour. So bang bang skeet skeet, nigga. We're just a couple of pimps, no hoes. And also our guest Horsecat.
Wow, hello.
Horsecat, it's been a while since you were on the podcast. I think early last year. What have you done for this game? Quite a bit recently.
Yeah, we'll be talking about a lot of the stuff I've been going through the last year. Some of them more extensive than others. Some of them progress that were going on for a little bit. Some of them that just happened in like a week or two for a specific character. But yeah, we'll go one thing at a time once the time comes out.
And in general, what have you worked on?
Well, in general, as I've said before, it has been pretty much the four first MLP characters, which has been Twilight, Rarity, Pinkie Pie, Rainbow Dash. Then more recently with the Puyo Puyo characters, which are Ringo, Arl, and more recently Witch. And ever since the Masquerade, I've also done work for Chiaki, the rework of Chiaki.
It's true. You're a very talented artist. I think you've mostly done art, although you've actually done the writing for a fair few of these characters as well. I'm always in your bug reports pointing out a bunch of places where they need commas. But hey, doing the writing and art in any capacity is pretty impressive regardless, especially for so many characters. You have your fingers in a lot of pies here. And you've done a lot for the franchises that you happen to be involved with. All the pony characters owe a lot to you, and same for Puyo Puyo.
Yeah, and the funniest thing is that even with all of the characters together, it's still probably not even close to be as much length as you've done for just one of your own characters, either Mei or Yura.
Well, there's you can build wide or you can build tall. But yeah, as you alluded to, a lot of what we'll be covering for these next two episodes is directly related to you. You are responsible for the vast majority. We're going to start off with some other stuff that you didn't work on, but we'll just it'll be your show for a good portion of this afterwards. And of course, Nord, you are also here as co-host. What's going on, man?
Hello. As you can see by my radically different accent, I'm no longer a resident of the United Kingdom. I'm coming live to you from Oslo, Norway. It's pretty nice here. It's better than being in the UK right now.
You just have a VPN on all the time now?
You're never gonna believe this, but me having NordVPN and being willing to shill it at any opportunity is entirely unrelated to my choice in username. The username came first.
I must say, when I went on my big election night diatribe about how they're going to ban porno in the United States, I didn't think that the UK would be forced to implement VPNs first.
Well, according to at least one of our politicians, every time you turn a VPN on and don't verify your identity, you are literally killing a child right now. And it's one of the English children, so it's one of the ones they actually care about. So remember, everyone, use a VPN, kill the English as soon as possible.
You can't waste any seed jerking off. But yeah, just goes to show. Liberal, conservative, right, left, authoritarian, libertarian, they're all against you seeing titties, which is why we're the only ones you can trust. Has your dick ever lied to you, besides all the time?
That guy doesn't know what he wants sometimes.
I'll tell you exactly where listening to my dick has led me, and it's the host Shilling corner. I've been listening to it very carefully and interrogating, is this good enough? Does this meet my standards as I work to, well, not quite the epilogues, but epilogue asset related. I have been at the urging of others, and then also my dick, very carefully improving the butt spread details on the many poses that my girls have, where they're spreading their ass cheeks and letting you stare into the abyss, adding extra like highlighting and shading and detailing Because, I mean, they were pretty crudely drawn the first time. Not that you'll be able to really tell with all the censoring that Solitaire will have to do. They're not quite in the game yet at the time of this recording, but by the time this episode actually goes up, they should definitely be fully implemented so you can see all the differences for yourself. And if you don't realize that they're different, well, hey, that just means that they were pretty good the first time. But I think they're definitely improved now, as you can see. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, you can definitely tell the different attempts. With, for example, with the Maya one, where you started with like the basic bot pose with just the little spread, but then you turn it 3 quarters around. Then she gained a second on a specific point. It looked like she had a second butthole for some reason, but now that's changed as well, which is always good. You never get it right with the first draft, so it's always good to keep iterating on what you have. Keep upgrading it.
When I was first drawing them, I was just excited to have the angle at all. I didn't sweat the details too much, but yeah, looking back, it wasn't that great.
Yeah, again, rising art standards as the time has gone by. More custom poses, more hand-drawn assets.
It is quite the improvement, and it's funny how when one person posts something, a lot of other people try to copy it to do their own take on it, because once someone shows how something should be done, or even just shows that something is possible to do, a lot of other people want to try it. These sort of things aren't really...
This kind of got kickstarted by a few different people giving their opinions. Calpol, another actual real boy artist lurking around the community. I think they made the art for Heisenberg on testing. They did a little mock-up of how it could be improved. I took some cues from that and from a few other people. And from my own... estimation of things, because it's hard, because like it's so small and like the image is not big in the first place, so there's so few pixels to work with. You can only add so many details before it becomes kind of an unreadable mess, especially at game zoom. So it's a tightrope you got to walk, and I'm still touching it up a bit right now. But I think they've come out pretty nice. Now I'm happy to talk about this for the rest of the hour, but unless you have anything else to say, we should probably move on.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be saying that your current versions look really, really good now. And even more than the butthole, just like the pussy itself has been improving a lot.
On the cheeks as well, they're no longer like plates that have been separated.
Well, I think a lot of that it gets helped by the angle change. It's harder to sell the roundness of something when it's like the full back pose, but when it's the 3 quarters, it's easier to sell that roundness and shape by the angle.
Nor, do you have anything to shill? We will be talking about yet another alt skin you made later on today. But
yes,
what's going on?
Just a small update is that I've already gotten one of my next characters onto testing, Simone. We'll be talking about him in a couple episodes' time. But just for right now, I feel happy to announce that my mans and I are working on reworking Princess Daisy using a model generously donated by a long-time community member, but never had his content officially in the game before, Sonic Joey. It's a very good model, and my mans and I both talked about it, and then we asked Joey if he would let us use the model, and that was over a year ago. It's taken us both a while to have the time and energy to work on her, but you can look forward to her, hopefully in a couple months' time. We finally hit a threshold for basic lines written where we feel like we've definitely committed to her now, and so we're happy to share it.
Looks pretty nice.
That's not the pose that you use to turn heads in the server.
Yeah, I think I'll spare it for now on this podcast until she's actually in the game, and so that Solitaire does not have to censor something else. But we're definitely taking...
Why Daisy?
Because this is mostly Fanon, supported with just a little bit of how she acts in the side games, but it's a chance to do a somewhat tomboyish and princess character at the same time. It's a beautiful model, popular and recognizable character, And my mans and I we have found the right energy for her dialogue that'll make her pretty interesting to play against.
I mean, I don't know how you couldn't use Fanon with a character like Daisy. Like, how many lines does she have total that are like full sentences across all of her appearances?
About 10 sentence fragments per Mario Party game.
I remember we used to have Peach in the game. Was Daisy also in the game? I don't know.
Yeah, see, Daisy was in the game.
She was. I think she came before Peach.
Yeah, Peach and Daisy are both.
That would fit the Spinati.
If you don't use Fanon, what you get is Daisy from 2016, where she had like 100 lines.
Her coming before Peach would fit. We always get the secondary characters first and then the main ones, if ever.
We're doing this as a same folder rework, which is something I often encourage to happen if a rework does have to take place. Basically what that means is instead of making a completely new folder for our version of Daisy, we're just going to essentially pave over Daisy's old folder. Just because, to be honest, there isn't really anything of value there. Like, even if you weren't very Spinati acquainted and you could look past the really outdated art, there's nothing there dialogue-wise or posing-wise or anything really to stand out as being uniquely Daisy. It's from like the earliest era where a character was basically just a shallow facsimile of themselves. As opposed to now, where we try hard way too much and are obsessed over, would this character do this in canon? I'm not sure. Well, it would be hot if they did this anyway. Okay, ship it.
I think that's the perfect balance, really. There was a period where we may have overcorrected. I know I did.
Yeah, for sure.
But, I mean, the fact that Git preserves history in at least some sense means that same folder reworks are not really that bad. I understand the mentality.
If someone really wanted to, they could go find the old version of Daisy, yeah. But that's all I really have to show.
I can't say I've missed old Tifa in any respect. So, I think it's time to jump into the meat of this episode. And meat it is indeed, because he's the most muscle-bound character we've discussed in a while. This is a character who's quite old himself in all aspects. Thanks for forwarding your post from 20 minutes ago. Jim Raynor, who is referred to by many names. Raynor in like label and like select screen Jim and folder name. The guy from StarCraft, apparently like the closest thing it has to a protagonist, as far as I'm aware. He was added way back in 2020 by Coolcat at a time where not many characters were coming out, and he was pretty impressive for a first effort. I think Coolcat did get some artistic help from his girlfriend at the time, or at least somebody outside, and he eventually did the art himself for Yumiko. But Jim was a collaborative effort because, I mean, male characters are hard to make even now, especially a guy so far removed in art style and in premise from an anime schoolgirl. Middle-aged, muscle-bound dude like this. So I don't believe his writing has been touched at all, but in what's been dubbed the ongoing Year of Zeus, Zeus's swan song, sort of the male character extraordinaire that he is, male body types of all types. He has completely revamped Jim's art and just made it super smooth and cohesive compared to kind of like a lot of the slapdash shapes that he had going on before. Not to say it was bad; it was certainly impressive, but it had some jank, and this feels a lot more like a finished product, I guess you could say. But yeah, he's been totally revamped. Horsecat. You don't seem like the type who would play with Jim on the regular. So in your test game with him recently, how was revisiting the character? How did you like the art update?
Well, yeah, you're right. It's not usually my type, but I can appreciate when something is well done. And honestly, even back then, for what the Kisekai could do, what did you say, 2020? Or when did you say the original one came out?
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah, even for back then, that's not a bad male muscular model, because, yeah, males in Kesekai are hard in general. I know, I've been working a little bit on a couple of them myself because of Puyo Puyo. Even those that are a little bit more twinkish are hard to pull off. So trying to do an actual muscular, manly looking man, it's gotta be really hard. And the update looks good. The original, surprisingly, and now that I'm looking back at the old one, holds surprisingly well. But the new one is clearly even better. Really good work on that. Again, I don't remember playing a lot of the old ones, so I cannot tell if any dialogue has been changed or not. But what I've seen looks fine. All of my knowledge of StarCraft comes from watching another friend play it, so I don't really know that much about the game. But yeah, he seems to be a really good option if you want a manly man in your table, which there are not a lot of.
Well, he was able to do a lot of space talk with Maya. I appreciated that back in the day. That's mostly what I know of StarCraft. So it's a very hostile universe. A lot of deadly aliens going around. Don't ask him about his family, his wife and son. It didn't end well. Nord, what's your take?
I will admit that for the longest time, I did think Zeus was the one that helped with the art, because I can't read and didn't look at his artist credit back at the time. But this art update was redone with Zeus doing a lot of work. Zeus makes great character models in general, and especially for dudes. His poses look a lot better because it has there's more effort put in. Like, you would have to put in a lot of effort anyway to get a realistic super muscular dude like this looking good in the first place. But you get extra details because there's custom hands, legs, for just the posing part of it. It definitely feels like the more realized vision of making a more accurate and detailed gym model. I think it was Coolcat who added the aura pose, and it looks really cool, making use of Maya's aura camera to get a glimpse at what a character's soul and personality is like early in the game. His dialogue, this is mostly about the art update, but yeah, the dialogue I know Coolcat has added to it and refined it over time. I don't think he's had any major dialogue overhauls, at least not in the last couple of years or part of this update. But he doesn't really need it because he's already really well made.
Oh, his aura's taking me to the bone zone.
I do have some minor critique, mainly of his forfeit posing. He only has 3 poses for it. Could do with more variety for that. His hand could move more. He has his legs; they don't really move about at all. And he does the problem that I'm going to mention a few times here with other characters, where he goes from his finishing pose to standing straight back up when he's done. And it's a little bit oh, back on my feet already.
I actually implemented a thing where if Jura or May or whatever is the last to finish, they kind of have to stand back up right away to leave. And they get annoyed that they can't sit there for a second. And a game over line. I actually thought that his forfeit posing was an improvement, at least in the legs, because I remember when he first came out making fun of how he had his knees high up and sitting down like a schoolgirl, because that was the Kisekai legs at the time. You couldn't there wasn't much customization, so that's what they went with, and I thought it looked silly for this grizzled old guy. What he has now with his knees down and more relaxed, it's less goofy. It just makes a lot more sense. Better details with his hand properly wrapped around and everything.
Yeah.
Did you have any other comments?
Not any for me particularly. It's just that I think if there was to be additions or changes, that would be it. I do agree with you that it's certainly an improvement the way his legs are like this. It's just that I think maybe it's a holdover for the fact that he's always only had Actually checking his folder now. He has 8 forfeiting poses, but they all seem really similar. So maybe like differentiating them a bit would be helpful. And it may just be a holdover of him being a couple
He's
of...
a straight arrow. He's a reliable guy.
Probably just a consequence of him being a couple of years old, like in terms of Spinati life cycle. But yeah, Jim is great. It's a regular sight at my tables.
So I'll say, like I said before, is much more visually cohesive now. All the shapes and the line work, they just feel a lot more polished. He always had very good body language, but even now, like the poses were well translated to the new model. And there's a lot of nice little touches, like his hands properly gripping his hips or his clothes or whatever, instead of just kind of vaguely being in the area and not having quite the correct thumb positioning. He seems a bit softer looking overall, like a younger, kind of more attractive facially compared to the old model, which I thought of because in one of the recent polls, like character feedback polls, someone said like he looks old, like old, like give him gray hair and he's ready for the elderly edition, which was maybe a bit unfair, but I think he's maybe it's just like facial proportions, but I think he looks more like sort of a grizzled guy in his 30s or 40s than like 50s or 60s, so that's an improvement for sure.
It's definitely his eyes when...
Those face wrinkles. It's hard to do it without making them look old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially because everyone else is like an anime character and they don't have any wrinkles on their face. Which I mean, that kind of gets into the writing. Like pretty much the one thing I wrote down is that he holds up well. Like he is cool and casual. I always said that like Cool Cat's characters always felt like Jim, but like for Jim, obviously that sounding like Jim works really well. It really depends on like who's around him and if they can kind of engage with him on the wavelength that he's on, because it does feel really awkward to put him on a table full of like just teenage schoolgirls in mini skirts that he has like nothing to relate to, and it's weird for him to like dive into sexuality. He usually doesn't, because that's so often who his table mates are, although I guess it's often the other men as well. But when he is able to engage and without it feeling weird or out of place, he's a pretty fun presence. It's pretty chill. So yeah, I mean, I quite liked him before. He's pretty good now. He just he needs the right pieces in place around him. He himself is a much better piece now. Go down, Jim?
Yeah.
Well, Horsecat, it will soon be your time, but for now, it is actually Nord's time. I must say we're a bit late to the party, unfortunately. So we're recording this at the end of July as the summer event, the summer extension is coming to an end. But there was in fact another event that we didn't get to just yet, which is the Sleepover event that recurred in May. So that started, Sleepover Pajama event. It was introduced last year. It happened at the end of November. And then it repeats 3 times throughout the year. So May, September, and November. So we've had to wait a while, but it finally came back for the end of May for a couple days. And because of that, because it comes up more often, you can't expect as many new costumes each time as with a yearly event. But we did get 1 new costume for the Sleepover event this time. And surprise, surprise, Nord is responsible. And surprise, surprise, it's Yuzuki, his original character, who recently made it to the main roster. It's Sleepover Spirit Yuzuki. He is going to make sure you know her, despite her being an OC. She is hard to ignore. But yeah, what's going on with her, other than her big fat titties spilling out of her bathrobe? And I mean that literally.
Yeah. I want to try and contribute at least 1 costume each time to the Sleepover event. It is quite a new thing, and it would have ended up being the case that there were 0 new costumes if I hadn't done this. So I'm going to try and do my part to, participate. In doing so, I of course wanted to give something to Yuzuki. I had gotten art of her drawn like this before. The artist behind it has politely asked me not to share it, so I unfortunately won't share it here, but you can appreciate her in-game art instead. Originally, the slip was going to be happening from stage 0 onwards, so right from the very start. But I was convinced by a few people that that would feel a little bit too much for her, and so I did end up undoing that and essentially making it so that it happens after she's like bending forward to take off her slippers the first time. And I think that helps. It makes it a bit less egregious to happen right away. I'd be curious to know what the two of you think about it.
Is this something that is yet another like author appeal for you? You like this kind of thing?
Absolutely.
I mean, who wouldn't like some nip slip, to be honest? I do agree. The changes to make it happen after the stage has happened, it's a good change. It makes it feel a little bit more natural. Plus, it helps with the pacing. If you come already showing everything, you might as well just be an April full skin as it has happened in the past. But I do like that she comes not showing the cleavage, but not showing the nip. Then a little bit that little nip slip makes that stage change be a little bit more interesting. Makes it the slipper removal, which be a very boring situation normally, be more interesting. So I do agree with the change being done here. It makes it a lot more interesting.
Does she always notice the slip at the same time?
I think so. It usually takes her like a round or two to notice it, and then she decides, oh, well, the damage is already done, which is my excuse for her not closing her robe again. Yeah, I will admit there isn't much to it. The sleepover event in general, haven't really had a chance to target anyone over it with other costumes. I suppose I could do it with Maya and Jura, since you usually try to target all the costumes.
It's true. I've considered doing a nip slip for Jura, just in general. I think you've advocated for that, but I'm more interested in her ass, unfortunately.
Listen, trade offer.
It's just the way the game goes.
Trade offer. I'll mod abuse it so that you get 5 megabytes more to play with Jura's file slot, like file space, but in exchange, you have to capitulate to some of my demands.
I will gladly use up all 5 megabytes, but I have other priorities right now. But yeah, Horsecat. What else did you think of Yuzuki's alt skin here?
Well, I pretty much expressed my opinion. I like the lip slip. There's not a lot more going on because it's just hair on a bathrobe. I think the default almost already looks like a bathrobe to begin with, so there's not that much to change here. I still like her. She's a very loved OC, and it's for a reason. She's a very good character. Even with the mouth and everything, she still makes it work. So all I can say is, again, good job.
Why? What's wrong with her mouth? You don't think it looks pretty?
Yeah, it looks beautiful. It looks beautiful. Just keep the scissors away, please.
Did you change anything about her body?
Oh, yes. Thank you for the prompt, spnanon. Yes, she is shaved in this alt, as she is in her summer alt, which we will talk about in a different recording that we may have already done, or has come out, or has not come out, who knows. Yeah, I decided to just shake things up a bit, and
Don't spoil it, although that does explain why I haven't noticed that she has been shaved, because I played these 2 costumes. And she was shaved in both of them. So I just memory hold. I gaslit myself into thinking that was always the case.
Yeah.
But speaking of her nude body, I guess I'll take the time to praise this pose specifically, that you threw me a bone, personally.
Yeah. I used it as an excuse to change things up. I know you used it for the opposite excuse for Maya and Jura. You gave them hair.
Yes. In the sleepover. you can look forward to that. You can go check them out. Although at this point, I think we may be closer to September one than the May one, or maybe literally exactly in the middle. By the time this comes out, September will be closer. So I said a lot about this already, but I like how she skips layers. It fits here, and it really feels like she gets to the good stuff pretty quickly, especially with the nip slip. And as far as writing goes, I've had to play her with so many games recently that, as I've said a couple other times, it feels like you definitely see like the hallmark lines that she has, where there's a few key points that seem to always get repeated. I liked a lot of her little minor comments she was making while people were stripping. It felt natural, conversational, often comedically flat. So long boots or whatever. And there were some pretty teasing alt skin lines that she had in there. So overall, very good costume. It has that little X factor with the nip slip. It's really all you can ask. And so we only got one new costume this time, but the sleepover event is something to look forward to every so often. And even the old ones are pretty good. And we got a nice crop of them regardless. So if that's all for Yuzuki and Jim, then I think it's time to get to the main event of this episode. And main event it is indeed for a lot of people on the server. Well, let me start off by saying that Horsecat has been working on the Puyo girls for a while, but make no mistake, he's got the pony, the My Little Pony pedigree, and he has not lost his touch when it comes to making art for ponies. But this was not his baby, actually. He did do the model and the posing for this, I believe. This is Sunset Shimmer, but this is not his waifu. This is Carbol's waifu. Carbol has been around for a while as well, not as long as Horsecat, but he has worked on a number of girls like Polly and Stocking, for instance. He's had his fingers in a lot of pies as well. But we learned some lore about him over the last year or so, in which we learned that Sunset Shimmer from My Little Pony. I'm not sure in what capacity, because when I was not following, but when I was exposed to the Brony fandom in 2010, 2011, I don't remember hearing about no Sunset Shimmer. It was always the main six that I saw floating around. But this is apparently a character who was added later, to be a villain. But then she was reformed. She's in the movies, and she's like Twilight in that she actually is a pony that came over to the Equestria girls' world. So she does have kind of that Twilight angle, where she talks about growing accustomed to having a human body. And she's also a gamer and a streamer. You throw that in there, and she uses magic. There's a lot going on with this character, and this is his knockdown, drag out, just end all be all ultra waifu. Apparently, I had no idea. You'd think you just make her first. I don't know why people are so reticent to do that, to just jump in and make your waifu. You're afraid of screwing it up, but what's the worst that could happen? You could be like me and just work on the same character for 8 years, trying to get it right. So, yeah, this is Sunset Shimmer, and he is if you doubt Carbol's commitment to her, apparently unrelated to Spinati, he's organized a whole community event with 200 different artists just making original content of Sunset Shimmer, and I don't even know 200 people, so I don't know how the fuck he did that. But yeah, it was a big deal. A big deal on social media. It was called "My Past Is Not Today," and he organized the whole thing. So talk about a feel-good story. And she's got a nice ass to boot, but Horsecat was responsible for that. But she's finally made it to Spinati, bacon hair herself. I hope that was a good enough introduction. But Horsecat, I'm sure you can give more detail on what's going on with this character, Sunset Shimmer, brand new character added to testing.
Yep. As you mentioned, just like he organized the whole My Past Is Not Today, which was a reference to one of the songs she had on the series, he ended up organizing another group just to prepare for making the character itself. he got me and a couple of other people. I did the model as you said. Someone else, sorry, I don't remember who exactly it was doing the base poses, and then I was taking set poses because they were doing them with like the normal Kisekai face.
Yeah, my man's did the posing, and then you retouched it to make use of the like face marks, because all of your pony characters make heavy use of like the Kisuke face mark system to have really expressive eyes and stuff.
Yeah, basically I have to make the face fully custom. They're a pain in the butt to pose, honestly, but all in order to make them look like they do in the show. So yeah, the stripping poses, any of the custom poses, those I ended up doing by myself, but the rest of the posing goes to my man's in that case. I just adapted the faces. And yeah, you can tell that there's a lot of love coming from him, because even just before we started doing the poses, he ended up linking to a folder to us for references. I don't know, with like hundreds and hundreds of screen caps just to find different references for the poses and everything from all the movies and the episodes and the series. And it was really fun to work with her. I don't know why you're saying she's not my waifu. I also like Sunset Shimmer a lot. And a lot of people do. As you mentioned, she started as a villain on the series, then she ended up getting reformed, and they did such a good work, and people received her so well, then they decided to recycle that same character arc for a character on the main series instead, with lesser results, with the Starlight Grimmer, who also started like a villain, then ended up getting reformed, and then eventually ended up being like joining the main cast in the later seasons of the series.
Now, how evil was she exactly? Is this like a Steven Universe thing where she like murdered people, but like it's okay, guys? She feels bad about it.
No, Sunset Shimmer is more like, oh, I'm evil. I'm gonna take over the world with my army of evil teenagers, which was a horrible plan and was gonna fail definitely one way or the other. But she destroyed the front of the school, I guess. But yeah, in terms of evilness, she wasn't really that evil. It was more like just very egocentric and self-centered, and then she realized, nah, okay, I messed up. I'm just gonna be good now. And she ends up helping other characters later on, and gets like the whole, once they start getting actual magic, she gets these empathy powers, which they have been really. They said that they wanted to do interactions with that empathy power, so she would just go into a different character's spot, touch them a little bit, and how her power works is with touch, she gets to read the person's mind. So with that, she will start understanding more about the character just by touching them a little bit, and that would lead to more interactions. I don't know if that has yet happened in the game, but I've been really looking forward for that to happen.
That's right, I heard about that. She's like a Vulcan.
Also, shoutouts to one of the poses that I did for the stripping sequence, where I ended up inspiring with the
Shout out to your own pose. Who are you, me?
Kotobuki statues that give like alternate versions of the humanizations, which are also really good. I just really like that pose for no apparent reason. But yeah, the
That's pretty nice. It's not easy to drape the jacket down off of her shoulders like that.
I remember also being a discussion on which of the three outfits she uses to be the one that she uses. The outfit she has right now only gets used in like one movie, but it's probably like the one we agreed that it was like the best looking one.
One of the most recognizable ones, would you say?
Probably, yes. She gets another outfit later on, which she ends up using for most of the time, but I think it's a downgrade to the one we got in game, to be honest.
Are you going to make any alt skins? Because she did seem pretty attached to her clothes. It sounded like they were important to her.
Yeah, I'm open to making more in the future if I have the time, of course. Especially the event outfits. Fluttershy is feeling a little bit alone in the summer event, with her being the only one with a swimsuit when all of them have, when all of the Equestria girls got swimsuits in that same episode, for example. Also, she has, just like the rest of them, canon outfits for like the sleepover event, which could happen in the future as well. And she looks quite good in all of them, so I'd be happy to work on some of those in the future as well.
Is there anything else you want to say about the creative process for doing her art or working with Carbo on this or anything, or how it's going?
Well, it was really nice to work with him. It was interesting to see such a huge group gather for one specific character without it being a masquerade project. And once the model got posed and everything, I went, okay, here's the poses. And then like a month or so later is when we got it on testing. So I got to play with my own character and still discover, at least in the writing side, how she worked, which was neat.
Yeah.
I don't remember when she came out, she got a little bit of a harsh reaction, and I have no clue why. I think she was a good character, and maybe I can see a little bit of the posing being a little bit similar sometimes, but that's nothing that a couple more poses couldn't fix to expand her emotion variety. But I don't know why a lot of the feedback at the start was honestly a little bit rough. Again, I think she's a good character, so yeah.
I mean, I definitely liked her when I played with her. I'll have a little bit more to say later on. I don't think she's perfect yet. Do you remember what people specifically had problems with? I remember kind of seeing that, but it just seemed like they wanted the best for her. They had high standards going in.
Yeah, it feels like they were a little bit high standards. They wrote her very sultry, very sensual, which you think would be good, even if she isn't like that in the game. In the series, as you mentioned, she is also a pony, but she isn't as how you call it, unaware of human traditions, because unlike Twilight, she has actually lived in the human world for it's implied it has been for a good chunk of time now. So she's actually gotten used to how humans are supposed to act. So she's not afraid to show her body because, again, she used to be naked when she was a pony. But she also knows the appeal that there is in revealing yourself to others in this world.
It's too bad. She could take her panties off first, like Twilight. Well, Nord, what did you think?
So, you mentioned negative critical reception on launch. I wouldn't say my feedback here is overly negative, but so for context, I've been trying to crack into Sunset Shimmer as a character for a while now, as someone who knows nothing about Equestria Girls or any of the movies, and I'm entirely relying on what people are telling me about her and what Sunset Shimmer is saying about herself. One of her opening lines to the other characters and the player is, "I'm Sunset Shimmer. I play in a band, got a gaming channel, save the world, and I'm a unicorn from another world. Nice to meet you." My critique here is that she's outright stating what she is, but even with me playing a game and, to be honest, mostly focusing entirely on her, I didn't get any of that across in her dialogue. One thing I decided to add to my notes was she has a line about the pressure of the game can turn you into a... Hold on, I posted the exact wording for myself somewhere. the pressure of not knowing whether we can survive the next round or not is what turns us into diamonds. Now, the reason I took note of that line in particular is that one of the most popular games of all time, Minecraft, heavily features diamond as a rare and coveted type of item. And so, if anyone talks about diamonds on the internet, there's a good chance they could talk about Minecraft diamonds. But Sunset Shimmer, outright saying she's got a gaming channel as one of her opening lines of dialogue, doesn't reference video games in any way, even in a sort of tongue-in-cheek way. Now, we'll talk about her in the next episode, Chiaki, who is like the ultimate example of gamer character who talks about everything in like video game mechanics terms, and that's probably far too much for any other character who's a gamer. But for Sunset Shimmer, I almost felt like I was expecting her to have at least one line like that she never did. Another thing would be that she mentioned when taking it off that her jacket was very important to her. And then in the next line, when she'd removed it, she didn't explain at all why the jacket was very important to her. And I feel like when you're writing a character for this game, if you write them to mention, oh yeah, this clothing is actually very significant to me, they should at least in passing mention why, right? So in terms of writing, it's... oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to mention, I actually don't know why she mentions that is important. I don't remember any part of the series where she mentions being attached to any part of her clothing in specific. And as I mentioned, she changes outfit, like the main outfit she has like 3 times throughout the entire thing. All of those times changing the jacket entirely. She had first like this very rocker, spiky jacket first. Then she ended up getting the one we have here with like the aviator style kind of detailings and everything. And then for the other one, she just straight up has a sleeveless jacket going on. So
yeah,
I don't really know if she's attached to any of them. Also, for the gaming part, there is a couple of shorts where she shows that she has a gaming channel, but she doesn't really talk about gaming outside of those 2 things. So
she doesn't tell people to subscribe
while
to
it
her
is
channel.
a part that could be there, sorry?
She doesn't tell people to subscribe to her channel or ask people to donate 1,000 bits to her Twitch stream. Nothing like that.
I believe she mentions to subscribers or something like that. It's been a while since I've seen that one short, but while she does have that channel and that's canon and everything, she doesn't really talk about it at all once outside of that short. So
yeah,
it is something that she does, but it's not a huge part of her life, I think.
Yeah, this is part of what I consulted her poser, my man's about, because I wanted advice about what to talk about her during this episode, and he did mention that even in like the Source series, she does like a lot of the things she mentions here do go underutilized in Source as well, but I think on a like meta level. Sunshine has had a strong start, and she has 1,500 lines already after like being on testing and having had like 1 or 2 updates, and that was mainly to add like batches of dialogue with specific characters. It's a weird paradox where like it feels like she has a lot to talk about already, but what she says doesn't convey what you would expect it to in terms of like. If she's going to outright state that she has, she has these things going for her, refuses to elaborate on them, sort of deal. I hate feeling overly critical about her here, but I think this is part of, on a personal level, why I've been struggling to target her with any of my characters, just because I don't know what I'm trying to, like, I don't know. about these topics of hers, and she doesn't really elaborate on them herself, so I'm not sure how to approach them with other characters. And as a player, she just sort of feels like another pony girl as a result.
I had a similar observation where it's like there was a lot of context to get across. You know, the whole pony to human thing is pretty clear at least. But, you know, the gaming channel, for instance, or what exactly she was guilty of as a villain and why she feels bad and kind of has those mood swings sometimes or feels really gloomy and starts to reminisce. I didn't always know. So, yeah, I mean, I think some of those, like, it's fine. Like, I think maybe Carbo, because he loves this character so much, he kind of wanted to get across, like, everything, or at least, like, establish everything. But there's only so much you can focus on or convey with random generic lines. And there's some stuff where you kind of gotta, like, you just have to use targets in order to elaborate on that. And I mean, as he goes forward with generic lines, especially at least, just consider, like, what out of all of this context is most important to her as it relates to the game. You know, how does it inform sexuality? Or, you know, what are her goals in being here exactly?
Mm-hmm.
And everything else just can kind of be on the periphery. And you can draw from that as necessary, but it's not really, like, core to the character. Like the gamer thing, maybe tone that back in generics because it doesn't need to be there so much if it's not important. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, that was my main critiques of her in a writing perspective. Art-wise, the art and posing is really well done, but I do feel like she overuses 3 poses in particular. Her sultry pose, her smug pose, and the one that unfortunately stood out the most to me was her finger guns pose, and that's because I had her on the, like, leftmost slot, so she kept doing finger guns pointing off into empty space. I think for each of those it would be good to have just a bit of variety, some, like, variants of those poses in particular, because if you're going to use those expressions a lot, then make some additional versions of those poses to get the same idea across. Horsecat, did you handle all of her forefoot posing?
Yes, I did, and I think I know where this is going with the dildo going all over the place. Am I right?
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going with it. Like, I would say find a consistent distance to move her back or, like, up the screen. For example, if you make her, like, consistently have the cropping window be 100, then that would mean she doesn't move up and down as much, and it means that she's, like, further up in her pose image so that she's not getting cut off by the interface or the bottom of the screen. Or you could make use of the pose maker and make them all custom poses. I would say have the toy be stuck to the floor, like attached with, well, this may not work on a background with sand or something, but if it looked like it was at least anchored to the ground and she was riding on it, that would probably sell the idea a lot better. I think what breaks the illusion the most, and this is going to be entirely censored because I don't know how Solitaire could show any of this on YouTube, but does that show the issue I had? Sorry, I'm just looking very quickly. Oh, eat.png does. I think the main thing that breaks the illusion is that in poses like this, because the toy isn't touching the floor, it looks like it's just hovering there and she's letting it fall out of herself. And I don't think that's what you were going for.
No, she's just lifting it up. She got that pussy game. Like a vice.
Got that grip. But yeah.
That's why Carbo loves her.
I'm sorry for having to... I'm sorry for having to, like, call you out like this, Horsecat, but you did sound like you were already aware. No. But I will say, I'm trying to work out something similar for another character of mine, so we can potentially compare notes in future. And then just the last bit of feedback I have is that she could also do with a finished pose where she is sitting or kneeling or otherwise, like, doesn't immediately jump straight back onto her feet like others.
My critique of her forfeit was that she didn't have a starting pose and she just jumped straight down onto her dildo, sudden dildo, with a question mark.
I forgot about that as well, yeah.
Yeah.
it just magicked out of nowhere, and she just did a split, and down she went.
Thankfully, those are all.
I mean, it's pretty bold for her to even have a dildo.
Thankfully, adding a finishing and a starting pose should be relatively easy and quick fixes. I can say, for example, on that pose, maybe the one that you posted last, I don't know which one exactly it is. I think you said hey. I can probably move the hand to make it so that it's the hand getting it inside her as well.
Yeah.
Not always be in the floor, stick to the floor.
I mean, I guess that's how she masturbated as a pony, right? Because that's how they read books. That's how they write, is just magicking like a human tool, a pen or a feather or whatever. Let's see. Nothing in their world is designed for hooves. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But while you're here, yeah, I'll start with the art. I'll start with all my praise for the art. Very slick, very standout, very appealing. She's super cute and pretty and expressive. They're very fun and readable. I like how she gets like mischievous and all that. Very nice stripping poses. You know, the bending over 3/4 pose that you posted here, and the 3/4 from behind. You were the OG on the 3/4 butt poses. I owe a lot of my inspiration there to you. You started off that trend of taking butts to the next level. She's a big-ass head and eyes, which is fine, especially for a cartoony character like this. I only pointed out because suddenly her head gets a lot smaller for the butt pose. Maybe you were referencing some actual human model, so you kind of made her head smaller. I don't know.
I would have to check that. I guess I could see it.
Other nitpicks. I mean, the biggest point I had against her is like it's especially when her mouth is closed, her lips are too faint. I think you should make them a little darker. Otherwise, it's kind of hard to see her mouth. When it's open, it's fine. But when it's closed, like you can see even in this GIF, her lips are a little darker, stand out against her face better. And her boobs are a bit too close together. She's on the border of having cleavage even when naked, which doesn't make much sense. I think you should like have the lines not go in so far towards the middle of her chest. Otherwise, they look fine.
Interesting, because I'll admit to something. I went a little bit cheap with the boobs, and I just copied this straight from Maud's model on Pinky's epilogue. These are the exact same boobs that she has over there.
You know, those ponies, they're all the same. They're all inbred.
Jesus.
Let's see. Messy hair after the forfeit. That was good. It's very nice.
Not only after the forfeit, starting around the heavy faces, I believe she starts getting a little bit messy.
Well, she's good. I mean, she gets very messy in general. She gets messy verbally. Starts talking about how she wants me to call her my son slut. I was like, oh my.
Goodness gracious.
But as far as the, I mean, yeah, she got very forward sexually pretty much the whole time, but especially by the end. Again, I don't know how accurate that is. She certainly seems pretty bold, and you know that's fine if you want to take it in that direction, I guess. It seemed like she might have been, you know, you'd think she'd be like kind of apprehensive because of her villainous history. You know, she doesn't want to lose control, but what do I know? And on that subject, yeah, like she could kind of be a bit of a downer sometimes. Again, getting into the writing, you know, with reminiscing about her past and getting all moody. And the contrast is unclear sometimes. Like it was unclear like why specifically she picked that moment to kind of get gloomy because, or you know, or dour because she was pretty cheerful a lot of the rest of the time. But other times she did seem pretty well adjusted overall. Once again, may I ask? I think that covers everything though. Yeah, just occasionally seems, again, it's like Carbo loves his character so much. He wants to get so much out there that sometimes can feel a little mood swingy. You know, you got to pick the right places to, and like the right moods to emphasize at certain times, and you can't have everything equal. You gotta know when to press each of those buttons. I got to know what's prompting each of those things. On the whole, though, I think there's a lot of good stuff here. It just needs to be cleaned up. You know, he's had his initial burst of passion flowing out all over us on the testing roster. Now he's got to clean up. He's got to pick up the pieces and start like an actual loving, committed relationship with the child that has now been created. Maybe he just loves her because she's a gamer, you know? Dream girl? Huh?
Horse gamer girl, it doesn't get any better.
I think that's going to do it for Sunset Shimmer. Unless either of you have anything last minute you want to say about her. Pretty good character, just needs some work, I think.
Yeah, I did want to slip in there that I do think her art is really well done. Regardless, it's just extra things to tweak now. Essentially, is what's left in terms of the art department. Writing wise, I just think she needs to elaborate about herself more. She has more than enough like basic lines now to talk about herself. So it's just really homing in on what would someone want to get out of this character, especially if they were a mega fan of hers or they wanted to learn more about her. Because this game is an opportunity for you to talk about your precious Blorbo, your Scrimblows, your Skrunklies, and other such terms. And so you can really like sell the character to other people now. I'm sure Carbold can manage that. He's managed it before.
Horsecat, anything?
Not really. I've said my parts in regards to Sunset. I will obviously take in all of the things that are being mentioned the next time I go work on her poses and stuff. I'll definitely try to make the priority to make a starting and a finishing pose at the very least, and then try to deal with the whole dildo situation just to help her as well as much as I can. Because I do love Sunset as well personally.
I mean, as we're going to cover next step, you're not off the hook yet. You've got a lot of plates spinning, or you've had a lot of projects that you've been working on. So we're going to talk about a lot of those next time. But yeah, I think that's going to do it. Thanks for coming on, Nord, and thanks for guesting this time, Horsecat. Happy to have you on as always. It looks like the sunset is in fact shimmering on episode 116. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Great success.